What's up, and welcome to the Del Oro method of client consultation and communication. I am your educator, Audra, and I am excited to be going through module 3 with you today. This module is called Listen to Understand, and we will be talking about scripts, phrases, and difficult conversations. Ever had any of those behind the chair? I know I have. So, the goal of consultation is to leave no question unanswered. We want to make sure, first and foremost, that before we even get started in our consultation, we are prepared with our support tools, which would be our swatch book and or our iPad and cell phone that we will be using for digital images with our client. And these are going to be used to navigate through the consultation. Let's get into conversation starter options. If you are already good at consultation and you have yours down to a science, that's fantastic. You don't necessarily have to do this way. However, if you struggle or haven't had the experience that you hope to have in consultation, let's go ahead and give you some pointers that you can use to open the consultation conversation. We're going to start with number 1. And option number 1 is if you looked at the form and it was very evident what the person had as a desired outcome for their service. You could open the conversation with something like, I am so glad you are here. Let's talk about your hair goal. Like, what I noticed in the form was, and then you would discuss the things that you noticed that were the same in the form. Now, if it was not evident in the form, we have the second option where we can address that this way. You can say something along the lines of, I see we scheduled you for a balayage, but tell me what you love about the images that you sent. And then you let them clarify what it is, because perhaps they sent you images that didn't look like balayage. They looked like highlights, or they looked like a full blonding service with a root smudge. Maybe, something that you didn't quite see as balayage, but maybe they were interpreting it as something else. So it's really good to clarify this way. And this is just a way to open up a consultation. After you go through your consultation with your client, you're going to want to ease into the presentation portion of the consultation. And that is where you disclose the amount that the cost of the service will be, and also how the maintenance for the service will be required for it. The way I like to do this is I like to say to them something along the lines of, based on our discussion today, I think that balayage is the right choice for this to reach your goal. And the cost of a balayage service today is X amount of dollars. To keep the maintenance for this look, you'll want to come in every 8 to 12 weeks. You can expect to pay blank amount of dollars for the maintenance for this look as long as you keep this specific desired look going forward. Next, you really want to use your verbal confirmation skills. Tell the client something along the lines of, I feel great about our plan today. Your hair integrity is always my top priority. Today, I will be using K-Teen in your hair service today. Or I will be using Lonza shampoo and conditioner during your hair service today. Or I will be using Olaplex purple shampoo during your blonding service today. Whatever you're going to be using, this is your opportunity to softly begin to upsell your product and tell them why you recommend it for the integrity of their hair. And then the last thing you want to do is ask them, do you have any questions before we get started? Because once you get to mixing, time's on. So you better make sure every question has been answered that they can ask up till this point. It's time to address the difficult discussions portion of this module. It's probably one of my least favorite things we have to do behind the chair as artists. I'm going to give you different circumstances you may encounter behind the chair and how you can navigate through those. Do not be afraid to say no. If it's out of your comfort zone, it's something you don't specialize in, or you're not interested in performing it, just say no. What you want to say to the person is, this isn't the kind of work that I do. If you're open to suggestions, I can show you some ideas that I think would work well for you, but I'm just not comfortable doing this service. That is all you have to say. You are in control. You are the artist. Now, the last thing to address is the need for more time. Maybe it's a client who thought they knew what they wanted, but then when they got to your chair, they had changed their mind a little bit, and you go back and forth, and you're like, that's not going to work for you. And, they don't know what they want. It takes up a lot of time sometimes in a consultation. And if you're not getting anywhere, that can be really frustrating. And maybe you don't want to completely dismiss this client, but you've taken a lot of time and you just feel like they're not confident in their decision making. The way you can address this with a client is you can say, we've been discussing this for a while back and forth, and I feel like we're totally not on the same page, and that's okay. It happens sometimes, but I really think that we should revisit this again a different day after you've had a little bit more time to reconsider it. That leaves a door of communication open for your client to come back for another appointment, but also gives them time to think about it until they're 100% decided that that's what they're looking for. If you take anything away from this module today, I hope that you take away that saying no to the wrong client is saying yes to the right client. You have every right to protect your chair.